It was the third day of the COP29 Summit at Baku, Azerbaijan. The subject of much debate became a lengthy 34-page draft on global climate finance. This was the second iteration on the first draft prepared for the new Collective Quantified Goal, or the NCQG, that was rejected on Tuesday by the G77 countries and China. This was the second day of the summit. Monday, the first day of the summit, had already been lost due to an agenda dispute. The COP29 countries are required to reach an agreement on the NCQG, which is largely about the new amount developed nations must mobilize every year starting 2025 to support climate action in developing countries. Urgency on climate finance is imperative for dealing with the problem. Let's put this in perspective. At the COP15 Summit held in Montreal, Canada in 2009, developed countries had pledged to mobilize $100 billion per year to help developing nations cope with climate change by the year 2020. However, this target was met only in 2022, with loans amounting to around 70% of the total climate finance provided. Things have changed now, much, and climate concerns are graver than they have ever been. There are three options for structuring the climate finance goal in the draft framework prepared in October by the co-chairs of the ad hoc work program on the NCQG. The new draft now presents 13 sub-options as well, therefore the length of the draft. One of the options is a specific dollar amount to be raised from governments as well as avenues of private finance. Another option combines a funding goal with a broader investment goal that includes private and domestic finance. The debate is on the amount. Developed countries say that the specific amount needed to tackle climate change should be the starting point for all negotiations to ensure the final target adequately covers the needs of developing nations. By most estimates, developing countries need more than $1 trillion per year to meet their climate goals and protect their societies from extreme weather conditions. Many countries have come to the Baku talks with a number in mind. Arab countries, including Saudi Arabia, want a funding target of $1.1 trillion per year, with $441 billion coming directly from developed country governments in the form of grants. India and the nations that comprise the global south have also said that more than $1 trillion should be raised per year. Ironically, the rich countries expected to provide the money have not specified a target sum, though the US and the EU have agreed it must be more than the previously set $100 billion target. Some developed country diplomats say that with national budgets already stretched by other economic and geopolitical pressures, a major increase beyond $100 billion would be unrealistic. A failure at COP29 to produce a major funding deal is likely to result in countries offering weak climate plans on the grounds that they cannot afford to implement more ambitious ones. Most of the world's climate-friendly spending so far has been skewed towards major economies such as China and the United States. Africa's 54 countries received just 2% of the global renewable energy investments over the last 2 decades. Blame it on Donald Trump, which is the fashionable thing to do. Donald Trump's victory in the US elections has overshadowed the COP29 talks. The expectations now being that he will halt contributions from the US. The US provided nearly $10 billion in international climate finance last year, less than the European Union's $31 billion contribution. So far, only a few dozen rich countries have been obliged to pay the UN climate finance, and they want fast developing nations such as China and the Gulf oil nations to start paying up as well. Beijing opposes this, saying that as a developing country, it does not have the same responsibility as long industrialized nations like Britain and the United States of America. While China is already investing hundreds of billions of dollars in electric vehicles in renewable energy abroad, it does so on its own terms. Any COP29 deal would need consensus approval, one that includes China and the US. Next year's UN deadline for countries to update their national climate plans is the last opportunity to avert disaster, scientists say so. Why this matters? Human activity, mainly burning fossil fuels, have heated up the planet's long-term average temperature by around 1.3 degrees Celsius, turbocharging disastrous floods, hurricanes, and extreme heat waves.